hidden architects of Hollywood. The great performance. When we think of Hollywood's high society, we picture the endless flash of cameras, the exclusive parties behind velvet ropes, and the glamour of the red carpet. We're shown a world built on talent, beauty, and incredible luck. But what if that's the greatest story Hollywood ever told? What if what we see is only the surface, a carefully constructed fantasy designed to keep us from looking any deeper? In this documentary, we will explore the shocking idea that American high society was never just a social elite. It was a carefully curated performance. It was a complex web woven from powerful families, influential media empires, and unwritten cultural codes that built a world of influence. This hidden architecture didn't just shape Hollywood. It shaped the entire nation's perception of what it means to have success, power, and prestige. We're going to pull back the curtain and reveal the story that was never meant to be told. The blueprint of power.
To understand how this system of power was built, you first have to forget what you think you know about wealth. In the golden age of American power, high society was never just about money. It was about access. It was about being seen at the right charity gala, the right film premiere, or the right summer estate by exactly the right people. These events weren't just parties. They were designed stages for social visibility. The real currency wasn't the dollar, but the performance of prestige itself, an act played out across carefully chosen spaces and timelines. And who directed this grand performance? The media. The press didn't just report on high society, it actively helped create it. From the society pages of the New York Times to the glossy photo spreads in Life magazine, media outlets were busy crafting a mythology around America's most powerful people. Their glamorous photos and insider columns were less about journalism and far more about storytelling. They were building a fantasy, and at the heart of that fantasy were the dynasties that knew the value of a good story better than anyone.
The old dynasties more than money.
At the very heart of this high society were the dynasties. Families with names like Kennedy, Rockefeller, and Astor weren't just wealthy. They were full-blown institutions. These families understood something crucial: the power of image. They masterfully used philanthropy, politics, and a carefully crafted media charm to cement their influence across generations. They were experts at managing scandal and presenting a front of perfect unity, even when the reality behind the scenes was far messier. Their names were strategically placed on hospitals and libraries, their children married into other powerful families, and their presence dominated headlines. Perhaps their greatest skill was their ability to control their own narrative. Decades before Instagram made that a daily routine for everyone, think of Jackie Kennedy's televised tour of the White House, a brilliant performance of charm and grace that defined her family's image for millions. This level of control created a new American royalty, built on legacy and image. But as Hollywood's own stars grew brighter, the line between old money and new fame began to disappear, threatening to change the game entirely.
The blurring line. When Hollywood met high society.
That calculated control worked for decades, but the rise of Hollywood cinema triggered a shock wave that no one could contain. As movies became the dominant force in American culture, the once clear line between the real-life elite and the on-screen legends began to blur. This wasn't just a casual shift, It was a fundamental change in the architecture of power. Suddenly, film stars were marrying into old money families, and wealthy heiresses were trying their hand at becoming actresses. This merger created a powerful new currency. For the first time, fame itself became a form of aristocracy. You no longer needed to be born with a legendary last name to be considered royalty. Now, you could earn it under the Klieg lights of a movie set. Events like Truman Capote's iconic black and white ball put this new reality on full display, mixing titans of industry with Hollywood stars and artists in one room. A new hybrid elite was born, one built on a combination of legacy and celebrity. But this new era of visibility would eventually create cracks in the foundation as the world began to change faster than the old guard could control it.
A new era, the shock wave of social media.
For generations, this blended world of old money and new fame seemed unshakable, a fortress of influence. But no society stays the same forever. By the late 20th century, the first cracks began to show as television and tabloids started to democratize celebrity. Suddenly, the carefully guarded walls of high society were being breached. Then, in the 21st century, social media didn't just crack the foundation, it changed the game entirely. The power to create a star was no longer held exclusively by studios or elite families. Today, influencers can reach millions of people with a single post on their phone. A single viral moment can generate instant fame, a level of access that was once meticulously controlled. On the surface, it looked like the old system had been shattered, replaced by a chaotic new world where anyone could become famous. But this raises a critical question. Did the power really shift, or did the players just change their costumes?
The quiet retreat of the old guard.
While the world was busy watching the rise of the new digital celebrity, the old guard made a brilliant strategic move. The old families haven't disappeared. They just don't want you to see them anymore. They've gone quiet. Instead of fighting for screen time, their influence now plays out in the places where real power is brokered, in corporate boardrooms, through massive foundations, and behind the closed doors of exclusive events like the Met Gala or the World Economic Forum in Davos. It was a masterful pivot. As the source material reveals, the spotlight moved, but the power didn't. The fundamental mechanisms for controlling reputation, access, and wealth all remain firmly intact. They've just become more discreet. They realized they didn't need to be famous anymore when they could operate the machinery of society from the shadows, proving that the most powerful performance is the one you never even knew you were watching.
The unseen system.
In the end, Hollywood's high society was never really about glamour. It was about control. It was a system designed to manage who gets seen, who gets heard, and who gets remembered. Through powerful media alliances, influential family networks, and meticulously orchestrated appearances, a select class of people built themselves into icons, not just of wealth, but of lasting legacy. And while the faces and the platforms change, moving from grainy newspaper photos to viral TikTok videos, the fundamental system remains. The game of influence continues, quieter now, but just as powerful. Which leaves us with one final unsettling question. Are we simply watching the performance, or are we still part of the audience, playing our role without even knowing it?
If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more about Grandpa Jim in the future, let us know in the comments. Stay strong, stay kind, and until next time. Behind the fame.